Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
You know, this is really true. With the Chinese virus that has turned the world upside down, us old folks are sneaking out of the house, and our kids are yelling at us to stay indoors. How times have changed. Good morning. Here comes Kate Smith, and God Bless America, followed by a patriot, a great patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning. And a good morning to you on a Thursday morning, January 14th, and the wind kind of dried things up last night. We're going to have the weather in just a little bit. Want to remind you that we're brought to you by our major sponsor at Zeb at the Ranch, and that's, of course, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with the best of tires and service. And along with that, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have the Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
My friend.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Boy, that was said with passion. Thank you so much, Doug. Talk to you in a little bit on the other side of the news and weather. Thank you very much.
Got it.
Let's go to the weather. And the weather brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. Good morning, Roger. He's over there already. Yep. They open the doors about 7 o'clock in the morning, and believe me, they very conveniently offer the rental of the best tools and equipment that you need for any kind of a job or construction project. Please, for both long and short-term rental. Absolutely get a hold of them today. The best of tools and equipment at K&R Rental. They've got a front yard full of equipment, let me tell you, and they're easy to work with on the Burley-Paul Highway. Call them if you have questions, 678-3122, K&R Rental. And right now, here's Gino with the forecast.
Here's a look at your weather for this Thursday, and we are expected to see some sunshine for today. Slight breeze out of the west-southwest at about 7 miles an hour and a high of 42. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with a low of 22. Partly sunny for Friday, again, high of 42. Clouds going to be rolling in for Friday night with a low of 28. Then back to partly sunny skies for Saturday and Sunday. Highs are going to be in the low to mid-40s. And that's look at your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. And, of course, brought to you by Roger and the crew at K&R Rental. They get there, like I said, early in the morning to serve you right on the Burley-Paul Highway, K&R Rental. If you got questions before you run over there, hey, call them, ask them, tell them what you're doing, tell them what you're trying to finish as a project. They'll recommend the best of tools and equipment for you. K&R Rental, again, 678-3122. Before I go any further, I want to remind you, too, about our dear friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. And the number to remember, kind of take a black marker and put it on your refrigerator. If you need any help with your heating or cooling or electrical needs, yep, they can and they will get the job done for you. Almost a total of 7 decades. Think about that. 7 decades of serving everybody in this area. And believe me, they know what... Excuse me, I've had this cough for the last couple of days. They know what they're doing, and they've got very efficient people serving you. 7:30 to 5, Monday through Friday. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Caller, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Deborah.
Hey, Joe.
Burley Senior Center. Today we have two menus. The one at the center will be liver and onions and the trimmings, and the Meals on Wheels will be biscuits and gravy and bacon and hash browns.
Oh, my. Now, that sounds very, very good. Joe, which one are you going to have?
Oh, I guess I'll get the biscuits and gravy.
Okay. Okay, Joe. Your enthusiasm is overwhelming. Hey, by the way, we'll send everybody by to get lunch at the Senior Center on Overland, and takeouts are only $5, right, Joe?
That's right.
All right. God bless you.
Thank you very much.
All right, Joe. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. There is one of the nicest gentlemen that I know, Joe Taylor, talking about our friends at the Senior Center on Overland in Burley. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
You know, I'll put Joe ahead of me any day.
There you go.
You know, I want to congratulate you on getting the governor on there who answered some of our questions. One, the big one was about the shots or vaccine, and then there were some other things too. But about the vaccine, we still don't know when we're going to get it, but he did answer one question, and that was, if you get the shot, can you travel around and
Yes.
maybe have it put in somewhere else?
Yeah, yeah.
And he said you would get a card, and that is so informative.
I have had a chance to visit with about 2 or 3 other individuals since yesterday, and I want to amplify what they have said, that upon receiving the dosage, if it's the Pfizer or the Moderna shot, which is encompassing a follow-up shot about 28 days later, if you are out of the area, if you are going to be gone on a vacation, etc., I think, and this is me talking, not a doctor, so there may be some additions or addendums to what I say. But what I've been told is that with the card that you receive after the first shot, if you are leaving the country, make arrangements in that respective area where you're going, and they can help you line up your second vaccination.
Okay, there's one other question I have, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but are all these vaccines compatible? In other words, if you get the Moderna one in the beginning, and they give you something else in the...
No, I'm gonna tell you what. Okay, again, Keith, I am not a doctor. I am not in charge of anything to do with the vaccines. I only go by what I am told by professionals and also what I read. If you have a Pfizer shot, you must get the second as a Pfizer shot. If it's a Moderna shot, then the second, etc. And I do know that in a matter of a few weeks, 2 to 3, possibly towards the middle portion of February, Johnson & Johnson is developing and has developed a single shot basis that probably will eliminate a lot of the headache and the hassle.
Well, I know yours is all based on facts, and I appreciate it. You made it very clear. It has to be the same brand.
That's what I have been told, and until somebody else of a higher level of medicine and technology of this answer calls me and says I'm wrong, I'm going to stick with stay the same. Make sure that you, when you are out of this area, maybe going south, maybe going to California, I don't know where anybody might be traveling, but make sure that you amplify that you've had either a Moderna or a Pfizer shot so that you can get the correct follow-up.
Do you suppose that card will have on there what it is?
I don't know. Now, that's a question that I can't answer because I don't know if it's typed on the card. So that I can't answer.
Something that's worthy of answering if we could find the answer.
Yeah. But I think that once upon getting the shot, and they tell you this is a Pfizer or Moderna, I think a lot of that's up to you, Keith, and anyone else to remember, write down, and keep on file what you received.
But once again, when am I going to get my shot?
That, again, Keith, you're kind of putting me on the spot there. I can't answer that question. I mean, I had him on. I know that there are movements right now underway to make it much more accessible in a much faster manner. But don't put me on the spot and say, Zeb, when am I going to get my shot? Because how can I be expected to even come close to answering that?
Well, I wasn't going to come out to your house and get one.
Well, I'll give you a shot if you come over here. Hey, Keith, God bless you. I appreciate your call. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for what you do.
All right, sir. Thank you. Yeah, I want to say that, and I want to word this in the right and proper fashion, that yesterday I was very appreciative that the governor came on my program again, and he will return shortly. I think we answered a lot of questions. I think I found out a little bit more information to certain questions that I had. I respectfully asked him about the budget surpluses of money, etc., along with the COVID information, and I thought he did a good job. I'm not saying that I'm absolutely touting everything that was said, but I do agree that he answered them and gave forth, I think, some really good information. Want to provide to you the word about Dino's Septic Service, and boy, are they good at what they do. Septic tank pumping and backhoe services, water and sewer lines installed, mainline irrigation installation and repair, septic inspections, all of this and so much more with the people that are really the professionals, Dino's Septic Service. Give them a call. They can help you do the job you don't want to do. Call them in Rupert at 436-6526 or Burley 678-1638 or Twin Falls 735-8281. The very best serving you, Dino's Septic Service. All right, calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'm just going to say this to start off this segment. What a farce. What a joke that's not funny. Crazed, rabid Democrats and silly, self-minded Republicans impeached President Trump for the second time yesterday. But they did it like a vigilante hangman's justice. They did it without a fair trial. They did it without a presentation of evidence. And in this country, America, they did it without the defendant having any opportunity to defend himself. This is not the America that I know. It was a vote of vengeance. It was a vote of hatred. And it was a vote to absolutely not get a pound of flesh, but destroy the entire body. I have never seen such a pack of jackals in my life. Don't anybody, and I mean this sincerely, don't anyone call me and say that I'm showing a lack of respect for the halls of Congress. I am, and I will not turn my opinion. They are a pack of jackals. I was absolutely sickened about some of the conversation. The Democratic Socialists that I listened to yesterday and the RINO, very stupid Republicans, even went into the sewer further with claims of racism and white supremacy against Trump. Now, I have right here on my desk the entirety of the speech that was given by Donald Trump on last Wednesday. And I absolutely dare anyone out in the audience, and I know there's Democrats out there taking notes, which is fine with me. They need to have some homework assignments. To find anything in there that is racist and white supremacy oriented. I mean, come on. The language that was used yesterday was so filled with nothing more than garbage. Garbage. I've never seen anything like this vigilante justice that was passed down yesterday. And every one of them, pertaining to the days of the Old West with vigilante justice, every one of them that stepped up to the microphone yesterday should have had a white bag on their head. Especially Maxine Waters from California. Caller, I'm going to ask your indulgence. Hang on just a minute. I've got one word I need to get in here, and that's for our friends at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. And they're located at 611 North Overland in Burley, and also another location to better serve everybody over on the west end, 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Oh, the breakfast menu, lunch menu, dinner menu, dessert menu. I mean, it goes on and on, all delicious. Served by very, very great people that want you to enjoy your meal. Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner, 611 North Overland in Burley. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning again. You know what, Zeb? The only one from the Idaho contingency was Russ Fulcher. And he came right out and said, I support President Trump 100%. Who are other people?
You know, Keith, there again, you're asking a question that I can't give an answer to. It's a question that they have to look in the face of their constituents, and they have to answer. Where is Jim Risch? Where are Crapo and Simpson, other than sitting there? In a way, I'll say this, and I'm not trying to put words into their mouth or alleviate them from any criticism. They're kind of waiting until they see which way the water's going to flow, and then they're going to jump in. I'm sick and tired of politicians. You said something yesterday that really is true, and I want to make a distinction here. I have said on this program for a long, long time, and you know I have bragged about our politicians that we have as elected officials in the state of Idaho, right now up at our Idaho legislature. But I am sick and tired of the cronyism and the get along, go along attitude that we have for our national representatives and senators back in Washington. I'm fed up with a lack of getting involved and speaking to the constituency.
Well, this I'm addressing to the Republican Party. Let's get off of our duffs and find people who are qualified to take the place of these people who don't have the courage to do what is right.
I agree. Yesterday, Keith, I don't know if you watched any of the proceedings, but if you watched and you listened to the Democrats and those 10 stupid Republicans get up at the microphone and go on and spout off and everything, you could make a very strong case yesterday that our educational system in America is absolutely not doing the job because these people looked and sounded very stupid.
Well, I'm going to guarantee you one thing, my friend, and that is Liz Cheney is limited to how long she's going to be there because he just ended her career by her attitude.
Liz Cheney, as far as I'm concerned, riding on the coattails of her father, I have never cared for her caustic remarks in most cases. She came out yesterday and said that the American people need to hold their leaders accountable to their rhetoric and everything. Once again, I refer back to the speech, and I'll ask and demand that if anybody wants to criticize, read the speech and then really tell me, honestly, if there's anything in there that's insightful to a riot, etc. I will not support Liz Cheney. I will not say good things about her. I do not want her involved. How much more clear can I be?
Well, I can guarantee you one thing, that Donald J. Trump will be there when she runs again to find somebody who has some credibility.
Well, we can only hope. God bless you, Keith. Thank you for calling back. I appreciate it. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. The only solution to this problem is the masses of conservatives are going to have to get together, join up, make sure these phony conservative politicians we have are never reelected. And it's going to be done by the masses of people that are concerned about what's happening.
Oh, I agree. I agree. I am so sick and tired. I would like to shake them out of politics like a lot of people shake certain rocks or pebbles out of their boots before they put them on. I just find it repulsive, the language that was used yesterday behind the microphone by these Democrats and Republicans. I mean, the Democrats stooping so low to say that we, the 75 to 80 million people that supported Donald Trump, they called him a white supremacist. They're calling us white supremacists. They're calling us racist. They're calling us bigots, and they want us to unite with them? Tony, I can't and I won't.
You know, these people won't be satisfied until this country becomes another Venezuela. And they're disarmed to where they can't stand up and fight for this country anymore. You know, I don't think they can see past their nose or see past what's happening tomorrow.
No, they can't see past their nose because they have their nose buried someplace else. And I'm not going to elaborate on that.
I know. I use my imagination.
All right, Tony. God bless you for your call, my dear friend. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, I'm going to say something right here, and I know I'm going to take a lot of heat for the words that I'm going to use. However, listen carefully to me. The words that I'm about to use are words actually from a movie title. A movie that was, I think, about 1 or 2 years ago across the country. It starred Brad Pitt, etc. Nobody seemed to really think about the title at that time, but I'm going to refer to that movie in my talking about and referring to the Democrats that brought forth this impeachment yesterday. If you have small children in the room, let them go in the other room for a moment. I absolutely think and feel that with the negativity that was displayed yesterday from Maxine Waters and Nadler and everybody else, that anybody that supports Trump are white supremacists and bigots and hate-filled people, these people of the Democratic Socialist Party are nothing more than inglorious bastards. Now, let that sink in. And then go to your Funkin' Wagnall or your Webster dictionary and look up the words. Inglorious, not deserving, and bastards, meaning inferior. That's the title of a movie, and I don't have to back up and apologize. I will not. I have no use for these people. I will not retract my words, and I will not retract my feelings about what happened yesterday. The impeachment of Donald Trump twice, and added on to the last 4.5, 5 years of complete chaos caused by the Democrats, is absolutely no apology from them. Of course, it'll never be given, but no apology should ever be accepted. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Hate me if you will. I've got broad shoulders, but that's my stance. I am sick and beyond tired of being called a white supremacist, and some of the emails I've got lately, you know, I'm a member of the brown shirts of the Germans. Oh, I mean, it makes me sick. The garbage that's out there and being spewed by the left. Caller, stand by. I want to remind everybody about Cheney Flooring and Home Design, Idaho's premier home design center. Oh, my goodness. These folks are good. That's right. The Cheneys absolutely offer the best of luxury vinyl, plank, carpet tile, hardwood, mosaics, countertops, home decor. Whitney, of course, can help design your space with a free design consultation. Don't pass this opportunity up. If you're into the beautification of your home, they can help. They will help. 1300 Overland Avenue in Burley, Cheney Flooring and Home Design. You get a hold of those good people today. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir. Yeah, you can tell that Nancy Pelosi's hatred for Donald Trump outweighs her love for America.
Doug, I'm going to ask you if you could speak up just a little bit this morning. The connection's not real good, and I totally agree with what you said. This is nothing more than a vendetta. This is nothing more than hatred. This is nothing more than a jealous rage against the man that they hate and everything about him and his constituency. This is something that's not going to go away.
Exactly. I mean, President Trump beat Nancy Pelosi, just beat her hands down coming to the wall, to all sorts of policies that Nancy Pelosi was against, and she can't handle it. She cannot handle someone being, well, she thinks he's not smarter than her, but everybody that has two brain cells knows that Donald Trump is smarter than most of them back there in Washington, D.C. The man has been playing checkers, and chess, and they've been playing checkers. I mean, he tweets out, the things he tweets out, I know a lot of people hate his tweets, but you got to read between the lines. You got to see what they're doing. He's got a laser pointer and they're cats.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what President Trump has done.
But
he just went around them and played them like a fiddle.
Here's the scenario, though, Doug. And, Sean, we got a little bit of feedback there, please. Here's the scenario that I'm concerned about. Next week, the inauguration of Biden. Then on the 21st, the next day, Biden takes over. And what's going to happen then? We have between 75 and 80 million people in this country that are strong, staunch supporters of not only the Trump administration policies, but also conservative thought and ethics. Are you, meaning the Democrats, just going to tell those people they are not welcome? Are you going to turn them away? Are you going to exile them to a desert island someplace out in the Pacific and tell them to fend for themselves? What about unity? Really, the word unity is so absolutely ridiculous right now. I don't even know how the Democrats can throw that word around.
I don't either. But I'll guarantee you, this Biden administration, if it comes to fruition, is going to get the same respect as the Trump administration did from us patriot Americans.
You know, Doug, let me ask you this real quick right there with what you said. Have you had anybody, whether it's your church, your work, or people that you associate with, say, oh, let's just let it go. Let's all sit around and just sing Kumbaya and hold hands and try to get along. You know what? After I've been slurred on this radio since way back in 2007, and the idiots that in the local basis with the Democratic Party here in the state of Idaho tried to hang the racial term on me way back then with Obama, I'm not going to change, I'm not going to forgive, and I'm definitely not going to unify.
Yep. They want us to sit around and sing Kumbaya. They want us to bow down to them. They want us to give in. Well, I'm going to give in like they give in with President Trump. They did not give that man a fair shake any way, shape, or form. As much as he's done for this country and the American people, and 90% of the coverage of him was negative.
Yeah. And stop right there because I'd like to inject something. I had a guy call me not too many weeks ago and said, well, I don't appreciate the names and some of the epithets that you throw at the Democratic Party. And I said, well, that's the way it is. I give an honest appraisal. Yesterday, at that microphone, Doug Martin, when they got up, they continually, it was like a barrage from Maxine Waters, Gerald Nadler, and so many others, Eric Swalwell. They all compared Trump to a lizard. They compared him to a domestic terrorist. They compared him to being a white supremacist. They compared him to being worse than bin Laden. I mean, how much more loathsome can you be?
Well, they're still digging. I mean, they're digging that hole, and they're still digging. They're not even paying attention to what's going on. But you take Maxine Waters. You mentioned her.
No. You take Maxine Waters.
No, but what she was saying out there in California in front of, about 12 people, get in their face, tell them they're not welcome here.
That's right.
Well, I want to see charges of impeachment brought up on her. I want to see Cory Booker, where he's saying, go down to the Capitol, get in the senators' faces. I want to see impeachment brought up on him. Nancy Pelosi, when the riots in Portland and Seattle and that. Well, some people, they do things. I want to see impeachment brought up on her. Nobody denounced, not one Democrat denounced what was going on this last summer when America was burning. The cities were burning. Business owners were losing everything. Minority business owners were losing everything, and not a single word.
You hear what yesterday, I don't know how much of the proceedings that you had a chance to follow, but a couple of days ago, Joe Biden, and by the way, Biden is an absolute inept fraud for not stopping this mess right now. You know who, really, when you think about it, Doug, and everybody listening, Biden is actually holding the gun, pointing it at his foot and shooting himself in the foot if he doesn't stop this impeachment, because the proceedings, the money, and the time are going to absolutely impede his trying to roll out some kind of administrative powers on January 21st.
Exactly right. Exactly right. But you just take a look. Who is in power? Who is leading the Democrat Party? It's not Biden.
No.
It's not Harris. Who is it?
Well, I'm going to name a bunch of names that are in control of what's going on, and it's going to go right down to the radicals in the party. It's going to go to the big money people behind the scenes. Big tech is controlling, Soros controlling. We've got the squad and everybody that they're trying to support, including the Soros Foundation. I mean, we've got a lot of people that are in complete control. Biden is nothing more than a demented, senile figurehead, soon to be gone, and then we're really going to get stuck with a Lulu, and that's Kamala Harris.
And I really think Nancy Pelosi is going to pull that she's not eligible to be president because her parents were not citizens. They were here on a college visa when she was born. I think Nancy Pelosi wants to step in there.
Oh, my goodness. I know I've heard that scenario thrown around plenty, but I guarantee you, the day that Nancy Pelosi takes over the Oval Office, I personally am going to sit back in my chair, grab a big cigar, and say, the end is not near, it is here.
It is here, definitely. Hey, everybody, let's do what we can for our senior centers. Let's support them, donate to them. I mean, if we can get 100 people to donate to a senior center $10 a month, that's $1,000.
Amen.
Imagine how many homebound seniors that could feed.
Amen.
Go eat there and leave with a full tummy and a full heart.
There you go, Doug. Thank you very much. Appreciate your call. Caller, I'll be right with you, I promise. You know me. I won't keep you holding very long. Berry Equipment and Rental Sales, Service, and Parts. We talk about these people every day. And they've got 3 locations, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and the Nampa location. And it's really true that the best of rentals, the best of purchasing, they've got great lease programs, great financing programs on the equipment you need, like the Bobcats and the trenchers and the scissor lifts and all the Doosan wheel loaders and excavators, everything for the lifting, the digging, the pushing, and the carrying. Get a hold of them today. Berry Equipment and Rental, Sales, Service, and Parts. Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. I have a question to ask, and this includes all callers out there. What can we do if they're not going to listen to us in Congress? Except I want to applaud one person from Idaho, which is Russ Fulcher.
Yes.
Standing up for everything lately.
You know, you ask a question. Okay, this is just 2 old boys talking right now. We're leaning up against the corral fence, and we're talking. You just said, what can we do? You know something? I wish I had an answer for you that you would go off the phone and say, boy, I love that old Zeb. He came up with a great answer. But you know what? When you talk to your congressmen and your senators, what do you get back? Maybe a form letter that is sent out to thousands. Nothing personalized and really nothing concrete. Many times you won't even hear back from them. I wish I had an answer as to what we can do. We, the people, are not being represented. We, the people, are not being heard. And the only thing I can say to you, sir, and I mean this, coming up next month in February, of course, the Lincoln Days celebration, the banquets, and all the meetings and everything, the politicians probably will be there. I urge everybody to be a part of it and then go to these things. Stand up and point your finger at these politicians. Don't stand there like going in for a loan at the bank with your hat in your hand. Tell them, hey, you work for us. What's being done on this? And we want a report. I don't know what else to tell you, my friend.
I know it's hard, especially when you call in and they'll say, we'll pass it on, or do they truly pass it on, or do they just say, yeah, we'll do it, and never get to them? And but this we can't trust government anymore.
No. I'm not arguing with you at all. I'm in total agreement with you. And then, right now, I don't know who you voted for. It's none of my business. But I will tell you this. I voted for Donald Trump. I voted for conservative values and ethics. I voted for a better economy that he did provide. I voted for more security that he did provide. I absolutely feel like right now I'm one of the 75 to 80 million voters in this country that the Democratic Party, the Democratic Socialist Party, would just as soon put dirt in our face and bury us.
I agree totally with that, Zeb. And then one thing I want to say is God bless the USA and bless this Constitution. May it stand waving still.
Thank you, sir, and the very best to you. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. I tell you, I'm frustrated. I agree with him. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I don't know who to yell at. But we are not being heard. We are not being heard. The Democratic Socialist Party coming out and comparing us and bashing us, like yesterday. There was a clip on the news yesterday about hold on, caller, I'll be right there, I promise, about Joe Biden being interviewed about illegal aliens. And he absolutely said illegal aliens are a gift to us, and that if we're against illegal entry into this country, so they can live basically on our dime, and that's what happens, we're the bigots. I mean, this whole scenario of a country and pride and a nation are being trounced and thrown away by stupid, and they are, Democrats. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. I just wanted to comment on something Doug said. He's so profound in most of his stuff that he tells you. But this is the one thing that I remembered. He says that Democrats are digging a big hole. Now, we all know what a hole is. It's a deep place in the ground. And if we keep digging straight down, we won't be able to get out.
We're there.
So the Democrats, being the idiots that they are, they will just keep digging.
Yeah, but Keith, they're dragging down the country. Our country right now, with the Chinese virus that has exploded all over the world, and the trying to get the vaccines out, and we've got to get this economy back. We've got to help small business owners. We have got to get this country back on track. What do the Democrats do? Leading into a new administration, they're going to spend their time, our money, on impeachment of a president that's leaving office next week. You talk about dumb. Ned and the first grade reader, the Democrats can't even read the word the.
For Biden to say them things like about the illegal aliens, that is just so doggone not just wrong, but stupid. That they're coming here to live off of us, and this is supposed to be a gift to us.
Yeah.
Come on, Joe.
This is what we're looking at for as long as this man, and underline the words for as long, as this man is going to be in the Oval Office. Biden is not at all presidential material. The platform or mantra of the Democratic Party is sick, perverted, and absolutely needs to be thrown out. But I would maintain that it'd even be worse with Kamala Harris.
Joe Biden never gives you an answer to anything.
He never
He
has.
just doesn't.
That's right.
I don't know how he avoids it, but he does.
Absolutely. Keith, thank you so much for your call. I've got to get a weather forecast in. Thank you very much. Sean, please help me. Was there another call waiting before I do the weather, or should I go ahead?
You're fine.
Okay, thank you. Weather forecast brought to everybody this hour by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Yes, they can help you. Everybody's hearing problem is an individual problem, and they can tailor-make, custom-make the right diagnostic testings to help you and help restore your hearing with the best technology available. Call them today and make an appointment. They're right behind the Minidoka County Hospital, across from the emergency room, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And the number to call, 312-0957. That number again, 312-0957. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here's a look at your weather for this Thursday, and we are expected to see some sunshine for today. Slight breeze out of the west-southwest at about 7 miles an hour and a high of 42. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with a low of 22. Partly sunny for Friday, again, high of 42. Clouds going to be rolling in for Friday night with a low of 28. Then back to partly sunny skies for Saturday and Sunday. Highs are going to be in the low to mid-40s. That's what your weather for is.
Thank you, Gina. And, of course, brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. They help me. They can help you. The really, really great people with unique treatment plans for you. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, 312-0957. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Thank you for your call.
Good morning. I wanted to invite people to be sure to be tuned in at 10:30 this morning, because you're in for a real treat. Christine Riker is a great Christian patriot friend of mine, and she's comparable to Baxter Black as far as her poetry. But in addition, she's a professional artist, so she illustrates the book that she just came out with, and she's been volunteering. She's a fantastic servant to help people, different causes. She paints paintings and just donates them. This is this book that she just come out with, and I'm sure she'll tell you about it. Real Cowboys, R-E-E-L, and Real Cowboys, R-E-A-L. And she's met a lot of these people. This lady will be 90 years old on the 16th of March. She is a wonderful lady. Be sure to tune in and be tuned in at 10:30 this morning on Zeb's program.
I appreciate that, Adrian. I do. I thank you very much. She's a very sweet lady, and I thank you for the book, and I thank you for the reason and the opportunity to get a hold of her and talk to her. She is a sweet, sweet lady. Adrian, I've got very little time, and I can't let you go too long, but I've got to ask you, did you have a chance at all yesterday to listen to the balderdash, there's another word I want to use, but I can't, of the Democrats with this absolutely phony impeachment proceeding yesterday?
Well, I'll tell you, if I was in a barnyard, you would have needed hip waders. There was so much crap going on. I mean, it was just so much BS. It was just unbelievable. I didn't watch very much of it because it's just sickening to think that these people could denigrate a president like Trump the way they have. I mean, I've listened to that whole speech. There's nothing in that speech that would foment a riot. And the thing they're not telling you is that the busloads, not just bus loads of Antifa and BLM people were let in the Capitol grounds by the Capitol Police, and then they didn't want any help. So it was a set-up job. Whole thing was set up.
I hope and pray, and I mean this, and I've got another call waiting, Adrian, but I so much appreciate your remarks about Ms. Riker, etc. But I hope and pray that we, in the next couple of weeks, we demand and we will get more answers as to what happened. But as far as unity, not from me.
Well, just remember what President Washington said in 1794. Truth will ultimately prevail where the pains is taken to bring it to light.
Amen.
You're one of those people that brings the truth to light, and I appreciate all your efforts.
God bless you, Adrian. I thank you for everything. Thank you very, very much. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Zeb?
Yes, sir.
Since the early 50s, I've been raised around stockmen, and stockmen that took better care of their stock than they did themselves. And it's time for some sort of animal activist group to investigate those in D.C. today, because by their actions, they show no respect.
You know, did you hear, and I'll give you another example of how low these people can go. Along with Mayor of New York City, Bill de Blasio, and some other Democrats that want to introduce a bill that impeachment of Trump is not enough. Now they want to go after his businesses with some of their location headquarters in New York City. They want to destroy his businesses. I have never in my life seen a party of rabid dogs like the Democratic Socialist Party.
Well, it's really gotten bad, Zeb, and you know, I've listened to animal activist groups for years, but these people back there have no respect at all for humanity.
That's right. That's right. I bear no apology. I will never offer an apology for earlier calling them inglorious bastards, which I think they are, or mongrel dogs, or jackals. This thing is absolutely ridiculous. Let me ask you something, Earl. If you were accused of a crime, you deserve your day in court. You deserve the right to defend yourself. Yesterday, without any fair trial, without any presentation of evidence, without any defendant having the right to defend himself, they went ahead with a prosecution of you're guilty of impeachment, we're throwing you out. Bang, just like that. This is not the America I was born and raised in.
Well, Zeb, if I was ever accused of something, either I deny it, if I didn't do it, if I did do it, I would admit to it and take it on the end of the nose.
There you go. There you go. I appreciate you, Earl. God bless you. I got one more quick call, and I got to run. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Zeb.
God bless you. Caller, quickly, before I wrap things up for this hour, you're on the air. Go.
Their attitude is you're guilty. You got to prove you're innocent.
Yeah, this is the transition. Boy, you hit it right on the head. This is the transition in thinking with the Democratic Socialist Party. You are guilty. Now, you provide us the information that's going to maybe show that you're innocent. That's not the scales of justice in America.
And if they can do that to American president, just think what they could do to the average citizen.
Bingo, bingo. Well,
and this is all biblical that's going on in Washington.
Absolutely.
It is.
Doug, I tell you what, we've got to stay mad over this because unification with Democrats and socialism and their warped minds, I don't think so.
That's right. And like Randy and several people said, for evil to succeed, good men need to do nothing.
Amen. Thank you for your call.
Thought for the day.
Amen.
So I got on my bathroom scale this morning, and let me tell you, the full armor of God is heavy. Hallelujah.
Thanks, Doug. Appreciate it. Hey, don't forget our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, these are such good people that really serve you with the best in tires, all the tread designs, all the different sizes for all vehicles. And boy, when it comes to brake service, they've got highly trained brake technicians there. And front end alignment, shocks and struts and batteries. I'm telling you what, you go in there, and then when you are all taken care of, you can hit the highway and rest assured you've been dealing with the best. Absolutely. Any one of the 7 Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, James and Buell, Dan on Pole Line in Twin Falls, Lane and Rupert, Mike and Jerome, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, the Twist family in Paul, and my buddy Trent on Overland and Burley. Yep, nobody better. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. We're going to take a little break for about 7 minutes and come back. Chamber of Commerce report, and then another report with my dear friend Nick Greenwell. Don't go away. Zeb at the Ranch will be back. Oh, a pretty morning out there. Good morning, Zeb at the Ranch on a Thursday, second hour. And, of course, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with absolutely the best in tires and service. Along with our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Want to remind everybody, too, about our dear friends again at Denny's Restaurant. Oh, I just love those folks over there. Thomas, Michelle, the whole staff. They really care, and they're very concerned that you have a very delicious meal at the 611 North Overland location in Burley and also at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Delicious food, breakfast, lunch, dinner, desserts. Pick up the menu, and you're going to have the hardest time in your life trying to decide what to eat. It's all great and delicious. At Denny's Restaurant, once again, 611 North Overland in Burley. It's America's Diner. Real quick, too, I want to remind everybody, some folks that have been with us on this program for a lot of years, and I just thank them for their being with us on the show many times, talk to them on the show, and we got to get Joel back on here with us. Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert with Joel Heward, the manager, and, of course, his family and staff, serving you and your family with very flexible hours to be there when you need them, of course. And don't forget, they always provide the families they serve with the best possible support and comfort. And also remember this, holding the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. They care. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. And, of course, the number 436-5636. And Joel Heward also serving you at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. You know, Sharon has been helping us a lot on weekends, the last weekend show, I should say, on Thursdays for a long time. And it's been quite a while since I've been here on a Thursday to talk to the president and CEO of the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce. Let me reintroduce myself to this lovely lady. Hello, dear lady. My name is Zeb Bell, and yours is, I believe, Penny Main. Is that correct?
Yeah, where you been, man?
Well, I'll tell you what, the truth is...
Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Late. We're 2 weeks into it, but hey, here we are.
I appreciate that, Penny. No, you know, as you well know, it's very hard to see doctors and take care of medical problems on Fridays because most of them are gone or they're not taking any appointments on that day. So Sharon has stepped in on many Thursdays and helped us, and I'm sorry I haven't had a chance to visit with you for a while.
Well, Sharon does a great job for you, that's for sure. Well, I had my own little bout of you know, all of that's been going around, and I'm telling you, it wasn't very much fun, but I am so extremely grateful that I'm, as you might put it, I'm back in the saddle again and moving forward. But, yeah, we got started off a little rough this year, I did, but again, I'm extremely grateful. I'm back in relatively good health and moving forward. So. Well,
I was going to call you, and I should have. I'm sorry, and extend the very best to you. And then I just can't blame it on anything except I guess we're selfish in our own taking care of ourselves. But God bless you if you're feeling better.
Yes, I am, and I've got good people around me. I'm extremely grateful for that. But, yeah, so we're moving forward. We talk a little bit about leadership and, forward thinkers, those kinds of things often here at the Mini-Cassia Chamber. And we are certainly blessed with some of the best here in our area who sit on our board of directors. And we're going to be installing them next week. Typically, we would do this at our installation banquet, which generally happens the end of January.
Mm-hmm.
But due to COVID restraints, we're unable to do that this year. So we're going to install them anyway, and hopefully put that on Facebook so you can all see our new officers. Let me just mention them quickly. Melissa Aston will serve as the chair of our board next year. She is with Idaho and Foods. Lyden Crane, who you know well, Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company, will be our first vice chair. Terry McBride from First American Title is our second vice chair, and Stephanie Curtis goes out as president. She served as president for 2 years. She will now be past chair. She is from Intermountain Cassia Regional. We also want to welcome our brand new board members. Very excited about this great new group of people that are coming to serve the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce. Andrew Gibby, who of course is with Nature Nursery and Market and the Gibby Group. Heidi Smith, the general manager of Impact Athletic. And David Lazariga, who is a great guy and is the new general manager of Cal Ranch. So we're very excited about some of the new ideas these people are bringing to the table. Couple of other things. If you don't get our weekly email news blast, which comes out on Monday, I know we encourage this all the time, please give us a call. You don't have to be a chamber member necessarily to receive this information. But there are a lot of great pieces of information from our members. And there's a new one this week. Again, it has to do with COVID and some questions about vaccinations, the vaccine, this new kind of mutant strain that's coming out with regard to COVID. Lots of questions answered, and the updates are in this week's Monday Motivator, and those are courtesy of Cassia Regional's CEO, Ben Smalley. And so if you want some great information on a weekly basis about what's going on in the area, please give us a call. We'll get you on that email news blast every Monday morning. If you want to be safe this summer, and aren't we looking forward to summer already? I don't know about you, but I am. And the good folks at Idaho Water Sports, along with the Cassia County Sheriff's Department, will be offering free, I'll make that clear, free boater safety classes. This is a really great idea to take advantage of. These are free again. All you have to do is simply give a call or email to the Cassia County Sheriff's Department, and they can get you signed up. I believe the first one is just around the corner, February 6th. But, we have a lot of people on the river out here especially, and this, can save your families and save some lives. And just make sure you're boating safely when you're out on that river, because it's unpredictable at times, right? If you happen to take this class, however, and you complete the whole series, Idaho Water Sports is going to give you a $50 gift certificate to spend in their store. So what a great incentive. Again, they begin February 6th, and you can send an email to staylor, that's STAYLOR, at CassiaCounty.org for details to sign up. And last but not least, the Mini-Cassia Chamber is on the move. We are looking forward to a brighter year, that's for sure, with lots of new possibilities. We're only 2 weeks into the new year, and I believe we signed up either 3 or 4 brand new members already. So we're very encouraged by that. We want to help you grow your business. A couple of things, make sure you like us on our Facebook page. We do a lot of things with Facebook. And not only do we talk about things going on here at the Chamber, but we also share a lot of our members' events, and I think that's really important. We've got members out there doing some really great things, and so we want you to be part of that. So just head to Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce Facebook page and be sure to like us, and we'll get you in that stream as we start to post opportunities and events throughout the course of the year.
Oh, my.
We're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and typically, so make sure you check out our website as well at minicassiachamber.com. There you go. That's it.
Wow. You are smooth, and I'll tell you what, I appreciate everything you do, but, You know, I've been missing our time together on the radio, and I hear a snickering in the background because I believe that you know where I'm headed.
I feel like you're dripping with sincerity.
I'm dripping, but it's not with sincerity, I'll tell you that. But I have missed the trivia questions. I have missed putting you on the spot. I have missed the fact that I have absolutely humbled you, and I thought I would get back in the mode again of asking you a question, and if you win, you will still be in the hole, but at least it's a stride back to the top.
So I see you haven't really rethought any New Year's resolutions or anything like that.
Not in the slightest. No, I'm sorry.
That's what I thought.
I'm going to give you one that I know you can answer.
You say that, I know. It makes you sound like such a really terrific person, like you've got all this confidence in me, right? But there's a feeling in the back of my mind where I'm going, I think he knows I'm not going to know this.
Well, and quite frankly,
I could be wrong.
No, you're correct in your assumption. I will say this. Name the actor that played Gomer on the Andy Griffith Show, and what else was he known for professionally?
Oh, gosh, his name was,
This is what we like in radio, folks, dead air.
Well, I know, and that's so rare for me, right?
Yes.
Gomer Pyle, right?
Yeah.
And his name, I can see it, and he was a comedian, and he did all, listen, I've been down in the, I'm just not myself.
I will give you, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to be gracious today because you have been so sick and we're so glad that you're back among the healthy again. I'm just going to concede the fact that this is a wash. I'm going to give you a whitewashing on this one. And the guy's name was Jim Neighbors.
Jim Neighbors,
And what he did besides acting was he was a professional singer.
Yes, he was. You're so right. Oh my!
Well, I know because I asked the doggone question.
Confused with who was the? I was thinking of the Andy Griffith Show.
Well, that's the one. That's the one.
I know, but who is the deputy cop?
Oh, that was Barney.
But what was his name?
Don Knotts.
Don Knotts.
Yes.
I had Don Ron right on the end of my tongue. That's what I was thinking of. And I thought, no. That's okay. Anyway, so like this is a pass today.
Yeah, I'll give you a pass. This is a warm up for the real event that's going to take place next Thursday, when you absolutely will go back on the docket as not being able to answer the question.
Well, God bless you, and you will be blessed as a result of this.
Penny,
I have my word. I will take back every momentary negative thought I was thinking in that couple of minutes time frame. So
no, you won't either.
And we'll move forward next week.
I'll look forward to it. Ladies and gentlemen, this lady has done so much for the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce, and I mean that. She's the CEO and president. Penny May, God bless you. Have a great day.
Bless you too.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you. Hey, I want to remind everybody about Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits. Please, all you need to do is pick up the phone and call Todd and the staff. They are dedicated, responsive, and devoted to serving you. Number to call, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Right now, let's go to the phone line, and I'm very sincere when I say this. This gentleman that we're going to be talking to absolutely has helped me, helped my wife, and so many others, along with his staff, at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Nick Greenwell, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I am fantastic, and, it goes without saying, because I can give you a first-hand kind of a reporter in the field type atmosphere. You and your staff have done so much to help so many people get back to being themselves at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. I don't know if there's a special award that can be passed out or whatever, but you folks are phenomenal.
Well, you get working on that, Zeb. I'll take any award that you're going to give me. Happy to.
Well, I tell you, I hear we have a dog in the background.
Yeah, I'm doing a little work out of my house this morning, and they decided to come and visit me.
Well, Nick, let me ask you this. Along with Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, you are now kind of tied between two businesses that are absolutely essential to good health. Also, Elite Fitness at 1200 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Holy smokes, do people really know and understand that you're kind of covering all the bases here with rehab and then also staying fit?
You know, we're doing our best to kind of shout it from the rooftops, so to speak, that we have a lot going on and a lot to offer, you know, from A to Z, essentially. You know, if you have an acute injury or something like that, obviously we're your first stop. But then again, we've added these other facilities in an effort to be able to kind of keep eyes on or some sort of passive assistance for a longer period of time. You know, it's always a little tough at the end of someone's course of skilled rehab. Maybe they had a total knee or a rotator cuff repair or something, and we get to kind of the end of our skilled portion of the treatment. But then it was like, well, now what do we do? You know, and we'd hand them a sheet of exercises and tell them good luck. But now we could transfer them to one of our kind of two sister facilities and create a long-term maintenance program to where they, have access to better equipment. And not only that, we're now seeing patients at our other facilities, and so there's skilled therapists at Elite in particular 3 days a week now, all day. And so we encourage our clients to come in and work out while we're there. So if they do have questions or concerns or something hurts or they want something advanced or whatever, we're there to do that.
I got to tell you that the personal touch is there. I've had a chance to watch, listen, and learn, and I don't care who the physical therapist is at Physical Therapy, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehab, but everybody is so personable and so caring, and you really do some complete studies on their injury or their recuperation, and people can rest assured you know what you're doing.
Well, we do our best to stay up on the recent research. Obviously, we do a lot of continuing education in a variety of fields. But we have a lot of experience there in a huge variety of settings, from women's health to orthopedic sports injuries, neurologic things, even burn and wound care. And so, again, I take pride in our staff and that we're very well-rounded and up to date on current research that's being done in the field. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's extremely important to do that. Not only we're in a fairly small town, but we're pretty proud that we're a fairly busy practice, and we've gained a lot of the physicians locally, trust and they trust us, to take care of those people right after surgery. And again, I think the personal touch is huge. It's always not a great experience to go into a big facility or extremely busy facility and just kind of feel like you're a number. There's a cookie-cutter approach, and, everybody's so unique. Even comparing a total knee to a total knee, it's different, right? Mm-hmm. The anatomy's different, and
right.
You can't just throw the same thing at everybody. And so we take pride in personalizing each program and making sure that everybody has a chance to have input on what their goals are, whether it's getting back to playing basketball with your teammates or being able to pick up your grandkids and everything in between. So we're all about individuality.
I want to kind of shift gears a little bit and go, this is the middle portion of January, and as time flies and the calendar turns its pages, it won't be very much longer before our friends in agriculture are going to be back out there really putting forth a lot of exertion to get ready for this next spring's planting, etc. And I would recommend that our farmers and ranchers kind of get in shape, and that's where Elite Fitness comes in.
Absolutely, yeah. It's been, again, a huge thing for us to add those other facilities for that very specific reason. We're in a huge agricultural area, and so not only are we encouraging those folks to come in during the winter months and maybe get on a maintenance program at Elite or something like that, but a large number of them utilize this time frame to get things taken care of. Maybe they need a knee replacement. Maybe they've had a shoulder that's been injured and it's lingering for the last several years. Now is the time that they get in and get that done because they've got a little bit of time to recuperate. And so we are fairly busy right now because of that. But, again, the nice thing is the minute we get to that point to where they feel like they're independent and know what to do, we can send them down to Elite and supervise them kind of from a distance, but for a longer period of time until it's ready to get back digging in the dirt and getting your hands dirty.
Tell us, if you would, please, about Elite Fitness and some of the services that are offered there other than just going in and lifting weights.
Absolutely. It's a huge facility. We're almost 15,000 square feet over there. It doesn't look it from the outside, but once you go inside, you can tell there's a lot of equipment, a lot of room to move. And we do have a pretty good variety of things to offer over there in addition to just lifting weights. We have a lot of cardio equipment, a lot of aerobic things. We have a lot of low-impact circuit training stuff. But we also have, again, skilled physical therapy 3 days a week. We have personal trainers. We have a nutrition counselor.
Yes.
We have a big variety of group fitness classes, from low-impact things for senior citizens to really high-intensity interval workouts if you're really wanting to push and do higher-level things. We do a lot of sports training and sport metrics upstairs in our gym where we're evaluating folks on, for instance, yesterday we had a young lady coming in that is really prone to knee injuries. She's kind of tall and lanky. So we went upstairs and we used a sport metrics program to measure all of the angles in her legs and knees and hips and everything when she lands off of jumping. And we can tell that her knees are bowing inward from this video analysis, and we're doing corrected things. So it's a preventive thing to prevent her from tearing her knee up when she's playing basketball.
Oh. So you do a lot of diagnostic help, too, with these folks, don't you?
Absolutely. Yeah, the key is prevention for sure. I mean, in all things, but we should have seen just such a high number of young ladies in particular that are having knee injuries in high school, and we're trying to figure out why. And research shows it's the angle of their hips and knees is different than boys, right? So we're trying to find strategies to be able to identify those at most risk and then get them into a preventive rehab program to kind of keep them from injuring themselves.
Let me ask you this real quick, Nick.
High school years and such.
Let me ask you this question real quick. As a physical therapist that really knows what's going on, past, present, and for the future, what about it? Did we, as a society, did we suffer as many hip and knee injuries in the past as we seem to be doing right now today?
You know, I would say similar but different types, right? When I first started 25 years ago, it's longer than I hope to admit, but it's true, we didn't see as many higher impact kind of injuries that we see today because of technology and advances in, automotive technology and recreational stuff, side-by-sides, four-wheelers, all that kind of stuff. We see a ton of injuries from that kind of stuff, hips and knees and such, but 25 years ago, we've seen a lot of wear and tear, and again, I think a lot of that is research that's been done on kind of how to prevent those things these days. We didn't have that back then, and so, people started to get a knee ache or a hip pain, and they just limped around on it and kept going, bucking hay and doing what they needed to do to survive, and now we have research that shows how to kind of prevent those things and better ergonomic analysis and things to kind of prevent as much of that degenerative tear. Plus, now we know that water therapy and low-impact things and blood flow restriction training and all those things can help decrease impact and protect those joints for longer.
Absolutely. Nick, if you would please give us a definitive statement on the hours that Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation is open and how they can make an appointment, and also about Elite Fitness, the hours that they're open and how can people join.
You bet. So at Burley PT, we're open from 8 to 5, and there's a little flexibility. Sometimes we'll bend that a little if there's a unique circumstance. We're located at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite number 2, and our number is 678-1191. And then over at Elite, we also see patients through Burley PT, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 5. And then Elite's address is 1200 Oakley Avenue, kind of kitty corner from the old Burley movie theater. And the number over there is 678-2155. And that is a 24-hour facility. So when you get a membership, you get a key fob, and you can come day or night anytime you like. It's always open.
I tell you what, folks, this man has done so much for our being fit and staying fit. Nick Greenwell, head of the Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation and also Elite Fitness in Burley. Nick, best of work, and take care of that dog and get moved, will you?
We're getting there. I appreciate it. You guys have a good day, Zeb.
All right, buddy. Thank you very much. I have the highest respect, and I say this and I mean it, for that man and how he's helped me and my wife and the staff. They are phenomenal. Thank you very much. Want to also remind you about our friends at Patterson's Electronics. Hello, Curtis and Lorena. These are nice people. Hey, did I tell you that they've got a Sony touchscreen stereo right now that regularly was $299.99? Now it's been marked down to $269. You better get in there. Check out the Bluetooth stereo with CD, AM, FM, now only $54.99. All your electronic needs right there at 421 East Main in Burley. Curtis and Lorena, they're open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6, and I urge you to stop in for the very best of all your home theater systems, video surveillance cameras, car stereos and speakers, televisions. It's all there at Patterson's Electronics, 421 East Main in Burley. Let's go to the phone line, and I am very honored to have back on this program a gentleman that is the founder of Biblical Foundation Institute and director of the First Harvest Ministry, Pastor Shane Vaughn. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Well, I'm back on my favorite radio show this morning, so I'm doing wonderful.
Oh, you know how to build a guy up. I appreciate that, Shane. Thank you very much.
Well, it's true. You're a great host, and I enjoy talking with you, and I appreciate the great work that you do for our republic, Mr. Bell.
I appreciate those comments, and I'm going to keep on keeping on as long as I can. Yes, but, sir. Shane, let me ask you this. Last week, Wednesday, there was a complete transition in the thought process, the attitude, and the vitriol in the United States of America is higher now than it's ever been. How in the world can we ever unify this country as, again, the United States of America?
That is a profound question. And the truth is, since none of us are God and none of us have crystal balls, or at least ones at work, all I can do is assume at best. And I think, to be honest with you, Mr. Bell, to answer that question, we have to get to the root of the matter. And this is the case in any situation. You have to find out the root of the problem. And I want to explain to your audience the root of the problem. And then that will lead, hopefully, to the answer to the question that you're asking. Mm-hmm. Because you cannot bring a solution till you deal with the root. And in the United States of America, we are a society that figured out a way to bring a peaceful society for us all to live in. You've enjoyed that peaceful society. I've enjoyed that peaceful society. However, I see my children not living in that same peaceful society that we grew up in the 60s, 70s, 80s. And the reason for it is this. It's called the justice system. In days gone by, before the days of America, before we became civilized, every man took matters in their own hands. In the wild, wild West, if you shot me, I shot you back, and it was over with. And in the days of history, that's how we resolved matters, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. We took vengeance in our own hands. That's the human way. That's the way of the beast in every man. But in the United States of America, we created a justice system that gives us the privilege of removing the burden of revenge off of our shoulders. It takes the judicial system, takes the passion out of justice. It takes the emotions out of justice and applies the law of the land equally to every man. For example, if I was to come steal one of the cattle off of your ranch right now, and we had no justice system, you would come after me with a vengeance and probably take back more than just what I stole from you. You would probably take vengeance in your own hands mixed in with your emotions. However, if you go down to the DA's office, the prosecutor, and you say, Shane Vaughn stole my cattle, sir, at that moment you transfer those emotions onto the law of the land. And now you go home and you stew a little bit, but you calm down because you know that justice will be done. You will have your day in court. What happened a week ago, Mr. Art Bell? I'm sorry, not Art Bell, Zeb Bell. What happened a week ago was a people that had been refused their day in court in this nation. And when you refuse a day in court, when there's no place for the voice to be heard, what the results is going to be radical emotions. And it is my belief that the Supreme Court did a grave injustice to this nation by not giving us a day in court and hearing the case and then either rejecting it or giving the verdict we wanted or the verdict we didn't want. But at least this nation would have had 80 million people would have had their voice heard. So with all of that said, the only path forward, someone, some court, somewhere must hear our voice. And so I'm going to be honest with you. You asked how we become the United States again, with peace and tranquility. There must be a day of justice, Mr. Bell.
Yes.
And not emotional justice, not radical mob justice. We must have a court that will open up. You know, in Wisconsin, the justice there, she told us when she stopped the recount of the votes, she said, you will most likely win this case on the merits when it gets to the higher courts. Now, this was a non-biased judge that heard the case, the merits, and she said, I'm going to stop the recount because the merits of this case could be won in court. And the problem that's happening right now, Mr. Bell, is that instead of saying you have a case, bring it to the court, let's lay it out, every door has been shut on technicalities, never on merits. So if any of your listeners has anybody tell them, well, we were rejected in every court of the land, that's just not the case. We were never heard in one court. And that's what happened last week in this nation.
When you say all that, and I totally agree and respect everything you said, Pastor Shane, but I feel as one of the 75 to 80 million people in this country that voted for Donald Trump and voted for that administration, supported his conservative policies, etc. We feel now that we are without a country, that we were without any support or any representation. Yep. When you have the left come out and call us Nazis and bigots and white supremacists, that's not a unification, that's a separation.
And that's why I couldn't answer your question, Mr. Bell.
Yes.
Because I don't know if there is an answer. If this is the trajectory that we're going down.
Yes.
If this, for example, it was Nancy Pelosi that told us, I believe yesterday or the day before, that it's our whiteness that caused all of this. How dare you speak to me in that manner? This has nothing to do with my whiteness. And those tones, the hypocrisy that we want unity, and yet they're doing everything except unity. The impeachment yesterday, which was the biggest scandal in American jurisprudence, it's sad to behold. So I don't know the path forward, and I'm going to lay it out on the line. I don't know if there is a path forward. And that's why I pray for this nation every day. Because, Mr. Bell, these 80 million people are not going to go back and sing Kumbaya.
I could not agree more. But let's go one step further. everything is, I believe, and I know you probably do also, under God's plan. And I think we have got to sit down and analyze the wants of God and the wills of God, and we need to pray accordingly. I'm not saying that we need to keep turning the other cheek and that we should just be meek sheep and not do anything. I'm not saying that at all. I think we need more involvement from the 75 to 80 million people in this country that are disenfranchised and thrown out in the ocean. Nobody seems to care. But I think we've got to look at this as part of God's plan. How would you respond to that?
And I would agree 1,000%. And, you know, I'll be honest with you, Mr. Bell, and this, I preached just a few weeks ago in my church that anytime God allows wicked leadership, whether it was in kings or queens or presidents, many times it's a form of judgment upon a nation. And I completely surrender to the sovereign will of God. However, I see what's happening right now as a warning from God for me to get more involved than I've ever been. Here is the problem we're dealing with at this moment. And I don't mean to demean my parents' generation, because you might be in that generation. But there was a laziness and a lackadaisicalness over the last 20 to 30 to 40 years in local politics. Mm-hmm. Local legislatures. Most people never look at politics, Mr. Bell, except for the presidential election, and that's just the honest truth. But if this election has taught me anything, it's the importance of local politics and filling the state legislatures with conservatives and going to work. So what I have told our listeners on our YouTube channel, over 140,000 subscribers I talk to every night, I have told them a soldier never wins a war from discouragement. They win it from determination.
Yes.
And we've licked our wounds, we've cried, we've said, why God? We've done all of that this week. But while we're doing that, they're planning to increase their power in 2 years. While we're licking our wounds, they've already put House Resolution 14 up on the agenda 2 days ago while nobody was watching to destroy the Electoral College.
Yes.
I told our class on YouTube this is the first thing they're going after is the Electoral College. This is their midnight fantasy to rid us of the most precious gift the founders ever envisioned. So they're already going to work. So I want to encourage your listeners today. Yes, we're angry. Yes, we're frustrated. We're hurt. We're disillusioned and disappointed. We can be all of that. But one thing we cannot be is discouraged. So, you know, if you truly believe, and I asked the class last night, I said, answer one question for me. Do you believe that God ever makes a mistake? Now, if their answer to that is no, then get over your discouragement and go to work. It is time. We're having a huge retreat in Alabama in September, for thousands of people are coming, and we are going to strategize how to re-educate our children, how to re-educate this republic, because this is a moment in our history where we can channel our frustration. And I'm encouraging your listeners, cry your tears, experience your frustration, and then get a determination like you've never had to preserve this republic for your children.
Amen.
And the power is with the people. And we just have to believe that, Mr. Bell, or what happened a week ago will just continue to happen. And that's the last thing we need in this nation.
Wow, I could not agree with you more. And there's one addendum I would make to what you just said. We have got to, whether we're in our 70s, our 50s, our 90s, or even out of college, we have got to reinstill a pride in the gift that God gave us, the United States of America. It's got to be permeated through our school systems, all the way from kindergarten to the university system. We have got to be thankful for this great nation and instill pride again in America.
Well, you know, my alter ego is Professor Toto. That's the alter character that I teach under. And we are in the process now of doing exactly what you just said. I have a studio in New York that has contacted me, and we're going to be creating a children's curriculum and a teenager's curriculum. 12, you're going to love this idea. So we're going to be certifying patriots. You've got patriots, but then you're going to have certified patriots from Professor Toto's college. And they're going to go through these 12 courses, video courses. They'll take exams. They will go through this, and it will be required learning because their parents won't let them eat dinner until they do a module every night. And they will then be certified as patriots of the Republic. They will understand everything, so we're starting from childhood. The next election, Mr. Bell, will be decided by 8th graders. Most people don't realize this. Now, if you truly believe we're a democracy, and you believe that majority rules as they believe with democracy, then all you have to do to be in power is create the majority. Mm-hmm. Well, the best place to create the majority is where we send the majority every day, our schools. So the 8th graders will vote in 4 years for the president. They will be 17 years old. And these are being trained by liberals. These 8th graders, their curriculum is liberal. Their disdain for the United States is in all of their curriculum. Globalism is what they teach them. Majority rule is what they teach them. We must do more than talk. We need people to get behind a re-education. I'm just going to say it like this. This, and I won't use the word WAR because I don't want anybody to get offended, but this is a confrontation of the right and the wrong. And if any nation, if China was going to take over America today, Mr. Bell, they don't win this nation with arms and weapons. They re-educate us. Mm-hmm. They come in and set up re-education camps. It is time to re-educate patriot children in the United States. If we don't go for them, all this talk about I'm trying to preserve this for my children, the best way to preserve this for your children is to re-educate your children. They need a curriculum. They need videos. They need parents that are involved, that will sit them down and make them become certified patriots of the United States of America.
Amen.
And then what happens, Mr. Bell, by the time they get to college, they will have so much knowledge about this republic that they will be a college professor's worst nightmare in a liberal college.
Absolutely. Shane, we've got a caller with a question. Caller, quickly. You're on the air, please. Go ahead.
Well, I'd like to think that there's 75 to 80 million people who decided that to be a parent, to be a responsible citizen, to be a patriot was more important than anything. And I think there's probably more that have realized since the election that they have, when it was robbed and how they mistreated a man who actually cared more about the country than himself, because he's put himself through hell, or they have. You know, in the movie, or in the George Orwell 1984, they literally, that type of society is functioning right now in China. They literally have social numbers that rate you on how good you are a citizen to the Chinese Communist Party. The Chinese are so integrated into our lives that I just don't know how you cut their tentacles out of our lives unless there is an informed public, and our children have to know better. Thank you.
Respond to the caller, if you would, please, Shane.
That's all correct. I taught last night on an IO initiative. A colonel in the military confirmed to me that we are experiencing an IO, an information operation, and that's how we won the Battle of World War II, Mr. Bell. We convinced Germany that we were landing in a different place than Normandy Beach. And we won that war through disinformation. So all they're doing now is holding back one flow of information. I've been deplatformed everywhere. So I encourage your listeners, if they can't find me, you'll have to go directly to my website, which is firstharvestchurch.org, and all of our videos are right there. But the point is, they hold our information back. They release their information on the major platforms, and all of a sudden, they win the war. We have to change that to stop this society that your caller is talking about.
You know, Shane, we talked just a moment ago about education, et cetera, but there's another segment of our society that I personally feel, and we talked briefly about this the last time you were on. I think they've got to be so much more proactive in the community, from the pulpit to the congregate members and beyond, and that's the churches and the ministers. I don't feel they're doing their job.
No, and see, the most powerful position, more powerful than a politician, is a preacher. And there's a reason for that. Every society needs institutions of respect. And the local members of a congregation, they develop a trust with their minister. They've watched his life. They know him personally. And his words have influence over them, more so than their senator or their congressman. And the man of God, someone said, you know, Brother Vaughn, y'all shouldn't get involved in politics. That is the biggest lie that has ever been told. Through the Word of God, there was not one king ever anointed without the prophet of God anointing him as king of Israel. When the king was ordained, it was the priest of the church that gave him his authority to rule. The Queen Elizabeth, when she was consecrated for her majesty, she sat on a throne, and it was the church that came and put her crown on her head, because the church is the conscience of this republic. We are the voice of this republic. And when these ministers buy into this lie that they cannot talk about politics, number one, don't talk about politics. Talk about righteousness. Teach people how to vote righteously for the standards of God. And then you're free. Preach the word of God. The Bible says when righteousness ruleth a nation, the people are glad. So we need to preach righteous rulership. People that have faith, values, and virtue.
Wow. I absolutely looked at the clock and I said, I wished I had more time for this wonderful gentleman, Pastor Shane Vaughn, the director of the First Harvest Church and Ministries. Shane, please come back in the future. Thank you so much.
God bless you.
And right back at you, sir. Thank you very much. That man is very, very interesting and informative, and I will definitely have him back. He's been on a couple of times now, and I have the utmost respect for him. Pastor Shane Vaughn from Alabama. Thank you very, very much. Holy cow, I got to get a weather forecast on. I'm running late again. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. I had a nice chat with Leiden yesterday, as a matter of fact. Good guys, all of them, all good people. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, the professionals, providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. The best of tax return preparation, tax planning, business consulting, bookkeeping services, retirement planning. You've got a question, they've got the answers for you, your family, and your business. With offices in Burley and Rupert, don't forget, Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Right now, here's Gina with the forecast.
Here's a look at your weather for this Thursday, and we are expected to see some sunshine for today. Slight breeze out of the west-southwest at about 7 miles an hour and a high of 42. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with a low of 22. Partly sunny for Friday, again, high of 42. Clouds going to be rolling in for Friday night with a low of 28. Then back to partly sunny skies for Saturday and Sunday. Highs are going to be in the low to mid-40s. That's what your weather for is Debit the Rain.
Oh, thank you, Gina. And, of course, the great folks over at Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, the professionals. They can help people in many, many ways. People that are starting a business or maybe changing it over to a corporation or wanting to expand their business. They've got the answers. Please get a hold of them today. They have offices at 1710 Overland Avenue in Burley and 625th Street in Rupert. The professionals, Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Caller, I have exactly 1 minute. I've got some other commitments with the commercials, so quickly, please state your case.
Well, Zeb, I just want to say that was so interesting, but I didn't catch this pastor's name, and I wish you could give me it or the website.
Yes, ma'am. Let me just quickly say his name is Pastor Shane Vaughn, and you can look it up on the website under the firstharvestministries.org, I think, in Alabama.
Okay.
And thank you for appreciate your kind comments. Thank you. God bless you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Didn't mean to talk over her. Very nice lady. He is excellent, Pastor Shane Vaughn. You know, if you're hungry and starving to death, I know some great places to go. I've been on a self-imposed diet since Christmas, and my steering wheel has tooth marks on it. I'm going to tell you some great places to go, like the AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley. Oh, they got the kids' meals. They got all kinds of different kids' meals. And don't forget, they've got the raspberry, strawberry, and cherry shakes. Whoa! Have that with that famous Farmer Brown burger. Oh, delicious. They're open Monday through Saturdays, 11 in the morning till 9 at night. AC Drive-In. Stop in and see them today. Let's move on over to Taco Bandito at 2301 Overland in Burley. Don't forget, they have got one of the great places to get together with your friends, have a cup of coffee, and with that, in the morning, a breakfast burrito. Ooh, scrambled eggs, bacon, and sausage, cheese, onions, tomato sauce on a tortilla shell. Ha! Knock your Tony Llamas off delicious to start the day at Taco Bandito 2301 Overland in Burley. Let's talk about not one, but two locations of Burgers Etc. 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 Overland in Burley. Fish sandwiches after 3 o'clock in the afternoon, only $3.99. Great food, nice people, really, both locations serving you the best at Burgers Etc. in Rupert and Burley. You stop over and say hello to those good folks today. And Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 west of Hayburn. Food made the way you love it. They've got the tasty steaks, they got the fillets and the ribeyes and the sirloins, and you can download a free app on your smartphone and you can order right to Steve-O's without going there first. Wow, it's a great place for supper when you don't want to cook. Really nice, friendly people, open Monday to Saturday, 11 to 9. Don't forget Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 west of Hayburn. And those are some great places to go when you're hungry and starving to death. I am. Drooling all over the microphone. We're going to take a little break and then come back with Cache County School Days and our business salute in the next half hour. Don't you go away, Zeb at the Ranch. Oh, good morning to you and welcome back. Zeb at the Ranch, and of course I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with the best of tires and service. Along with our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Want to remind everybody before we get started with our Cache County School Days about Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more. Hello, Jeff. Hello, staff. These are nice people. Every time you walk in the door, you can just stop right there at the door and look around right to left, left to right. Holy smokes, they've got it all for the beautification and comfortization of your home. Right now, they're having a huge sale on floor coverings. All the carpet, they got rolls and rolls and rolls of carpet, vinyl and luxury vinyl planks. Oh, my goodness, guaranteed the lowest price. They're ready to serve you. And shipments are coming in all the time of new sofas and recliners and sectionals. You'd better stop in there today. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, Saturdays 10 to 4. Stop in and see my old buddy Jeff and the entire crew at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more at 459 Overland in Burley. Really good folks. Right now, let's go to the phone line, and it's time for Cache County School Days. And today, we have with us the Burley Junior High principal. He's been on before. Steve Kopman, how are you?
Good morning, Deb. Doing great. How are you doing?
Well, not too bad. I would not want to trade places with you and your job and what you folks in education have gone through since the beginning of this Chinese COVID virus 19. I bet you it's been just a hair-pulling experience trying to adapt and reshape and reform the teaching, the curriculum, everything. Give us a little explanation as to what you've had to go through.
You know, it's been awful interesting. I'm fortunate to be working with an awful great group of people that care about kids in our whole district here. We've had to make some adjustments, just as far as social distancing and some of the quarantine things, some of the very fundamental things of COVID, but as well as curriculum also. We're trying to stay as normal as possible. Luckily, our district is committed to having kids in school and staying face-to-face. As you know, we've gone to a 4-day week, and that Friday, it's a packed Friday. We're busy. Sports, we've worked to keep sports close to normal. I've got friends in other states that everything's been canceled. My sister in California, her kids haven't been in school since March.
Oh, my.
So we're pretty blessed to be where we're at, even in this tough situation.
I'm going to ask my engineer, Sean, if you could just boost him up a little bit in my headsets, if you would. Steve, when you talk about other areas around the United States, whether it's California, whether it's Wisconsin, whatever, in your opinion as a professional educator, what has this done across the board to education in our country? How far have these kids been set back?
Well, there's two aspects. There's academics and there's mental wellness. As far as social and emotional mental health of our kids, it's tough. It's been really hard on them. Academics has been tough. We have people moving in from other states right now. We got a couple new ones after Christmas. I was talking to one of the high school assistant principals this morning, and they've had a couple from California, a couple from Arizona, and we had one from Oregon. The academics is one aspect of it, and the academics is measurable. I'm sure we're going to do some testing, and we're going to say we got a little bit further behind because we have less time in school, or in some cases no time in school. But the mental health of our children has become a forefront concern for all of us.
Let me ask you a question right there, and I'm not trying to pry. I don't want any specific cases mentioned. But you, as an educator, what have you noticed on the mental health aspects? What has been told to you? What have you seen firsthand? And how is it correctable?
Well, I can tell you firsthand, last spring when we were forced to do that shutdown, we made many visits to houses. Our school, and I'm sure other schools also, we'd grab a counselor and we'd go sit 6 feet apart in the front yard and talk with kids and parents. We're kind of social creatures, and junior high kids especially. We're pretty social beings, and when that all gets shut down, it's pretty hard. And as you know, when you're not face-to-face social, then you're online social, and that brings up the whole social media situation, and sometimes that's not always a positive situation. So when kids are stuck at home and social media-ing, it's not always a healthy situation. As far as remedying it, we need to be involved. Our district has a Connect program that they've been very forefront in the state of mental health of children and getting access to counselors instantly for our kiddos. And we've used that extensively. But just to be involved with these kids is the main way to help with the mental health.
I can't imagine. Honestly, I was thinking back into my school years, and I had a lot of good friends that we played basketball and football and baseball together, and we enjoyed the camaraderie and the spirit, and I'm not trying to sound like a do-gooder, but I certainly miss a lot of my teachers that I had in high school and all the academics and everything. I just can't imagine having that all of a sudden just taken away from kids, and there's a complete void there that really you can't fill.
Right, and whether people admit it or not, we've got this internal thought of those kids, whoever those kids are. So you think when we're out of school or shut down, we got to be careful for those kids? Well, we're finding it's any kid. It can be your superstar athlete, or it can be your quiet kid in the corner that likes to eat by themselves at lunchtime. It can be your very social cheerleader or student body people. Mental health, it can affect anybody, and we just need to be so aware of that.
In many cases, Steve, I would imagine that the school and being at school was a lot of these children's outlet to really socialize. Instead of at home, maybe both parents had to work. Maybe they were home all by themselves. And boy, you talk about becoming an introvert. That must have been really hazardous to these kids.
Absolutely. And academically, the parents were working all day and coming home at night trying to be the teachers with the kids. And you and I talked about this a little bit before, but all of a sudden at 5 o'clock, the parents become the teachers.
Yeah.
And our teachers would start working 8 in the morning, and then they'd start doing Zoom meetings at 5 and 6 with these parents and kids. And it was just hard to stay totally in contact with the students. But our goal as a school and as a district was to stay in contact. We had a goal of contacting every kid multiple times a week just to check status, if nothing else.
Steve, let me ask you this academically. Can our children that suffered since way back last March, and many of which across the United States with closures are still going on, can they catch up and attain and retain the grade levels that they should be?
That's kind of a loaded question. I believe they can. It's going to take a lot of work. We were talking this morning that nationally, we're normed nationally. We have national standards. We have, as far as academic success. And so I can see our national norms going down. So a proficiency rate might go down to where we look good because they've lowered the bar of what proficiency is. But we as a district are dedicated to our own standards, and we have our own measures. And I think if we work hard, we can get kids caught up. I think it's going to be a chore. I can't even imagine the people that haven't been back to school yet, that they're going on a full year of not even being in school.
Oh, my. What's it done to you? I mean, let's talk on a personal level. When you got into education, did you never had any inference or any nudging that this would ever happen in your career? How has it changed you as an educator?
I think, and I keep hitting the mental health, I think that we've always focused extensively on academics because it's a measurable measure. We can see we started here and we ended here. I think as a group, we've worked really hard to pay attention to all aspects of the kid. Most educators, just by nature of who they are very compassionate, and they want success for their kids, and they feel the success and they feel the failure. But I think more than anything, this last 18 months or less, we've really had to lean on the compassion in building bridges and pay close attention to who a kid is and what we can do to foster the goodness in the kid, which in turn helps them be academically successful.
I would say this, and you can tell me I'm wrong, but here you are, the principal of the Burley Junior High, and you have to be concerned with all the students and their mental health. Conversely, you have to be concerned about the teachers and their mental health and how they're adapting to the situation. But here you are at the top of the totem pole. Who comes to you and says, "Hey, Steve, can we help you?"
You know what? I'm glad you asked that because I'm in the middle of the totem pole with the rest of them. We've got such a great group that it's very cliche, but we do look out for each other. We have such a great family atmosphere amongst our staff that we do take care of each other, and we do often talk about take care of yourself. And that's another cliche, but you got to take care of yourself to make yourself available and healthy. And at the end of the day, COVID is a real thing. We've had staff members with COVID. Every school has. It's slowing down now, which is amazing, and the vaccine is coming out, which will help us, I believe. But you hit it right on the head, Zeb. If we don't take care of ourselves, sometimes we give and give and give and give, and then all of a sudden we're at the end of where we need to be also, and that's hard.
As you look at education today, and we're going in now to the new year 2021, holy cow, what kind of major changes will the COVID and the virus bring for education in the future?
That is the million-dollar question. We are cleaner. Junior high kids aren't necessarily the cleanest folks, but we've worked really hard with the sanitizing and just the rudimentary end of COVID. I think we're cleaner because of it. I think kids are washing hands more. We're cleaning desks between classes, and I would hope that we look to take better care of each other, too, as a society and even as a community, that I've seen this do some bringing together of people, watching out for each other. You know, it's difficult. We have basketball games and whatnot going on, and we're allowed 2 parents, or actually 2 spectators per athlete right now, so it makes the gyms kind of interesting. But I think it makes us more appreciative. I've heard from a lot of parents that they appreciate what's going on at the school. They'd be more appreciative of the efforts, not just in school, but all around the community that the people put in to make things workable and successful.
Steve, we've got a caller with a quick question. Please, caller, go ahead. You're on the air. Please, go ahead.
Well, Mr. Cotman is a friend of mine. He's taught lots of my children, or no, he's been the principal, and I admire him. And I had a question quickly. You know, Zeb's previous guest was talking about how we're losing our society because the children are not being taught about American history and the Constitution and the fact that we are a representative republic. We're not a democracy. And they are taught terrible things about our history. I mean, how in the tank, you must have contact with other principals across the nation. How in the tank is our education system, and how bad off are our children? And is there reason for hope, or is it really quite a terrible situation?
Go ahead, Steve, please.
I can't answer for folks across the nation, Randy, but what we do locally, as far as history, to answer the history question specifically, we've not changed what we're doing. We still do Constitution. We still, you and I have talked about that quite a bit. Our history's not changing like it is nationally. You know, you hear stories, and of course, we all want to believe what we hear in the media. Who knows what's real? And that just drives me crazy, because that's a lot of what's happening. The politics and the media pollute a situation. That's just a personal opinion. But as for our school, we're still going ahead, and we're doing what we're supposed to with the history and the Constitution, the patriotism, and the American stuff.
You know, Steve, I want to compliment you. Every time you've been on this program, you've been very straightforward and very informational, and I appreciate it. The Burley Junior High principal, Steve Cotman, and I say this and I mean this. God bless you for your efforts. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Zeb, we appreciate your support of what we've got going on here, too. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much. You know, I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again, that the educators and the principals and all the people connected with education in Cassia County in particular that have been on this program, wow. I mean, that's a good word to describe them. Wow. I am impressed. They are very straightforward. They are very honest and articulate about what they do. And there is a great example. The Burley Junior High principal, Steve Cotman, talking about a very tough subject, and that's, of course, what the Chinese COVID virus did to education, not only here, but across the United States. Just a really nice man, and I appreciate him being on the program. Let's see. What am I going to remind you of right now? My whole train of thought just got derailed there momentarily. I've got to give a promo real quick. Do not forget that next Tuesday we have our next visit with our Idaho legislators. Don't forget, every Tuesday at 10:30, the 2021 legislative update, sponsored by Handy Truck Lines, providing first-class freight services to the Northwest. Representatives Fred Woods, Senator Kelly Anthon, Speaker of the House Scott Bedke, and others will be featured weekly on that legislative update. So know what's going on and happening at the Idaho legislative session for this year. Tune in Tuesdays at 10:32 for the Idaho legislative update, sponsored by Handy Truck Lines, right here on Zeb at the Ranch. Right now, we're going to visit with a lady by the name of Kim, and they have an enterprise going on over in Declo called Wick's Steakhouse, and I've heard nothing but rave reviews about this great restaurant. Kim, good morning to you. How are you?
I'm good, Zeb. How are you?
Well, I'm hungry. And I'm going to tell you this, I'm going to keep my appetite right at a razor-thin edge so I can get over there this weekend and enjoy your great food.
Looking forward to it.
Tell us a little bit about your location, about what the menu choices are. Give us a little history.
Okay, so the reason we decided to go with Declo is my Uncle Wallace owned the Wolf Lodge Inn, and him and my father built this little legacy that we have down here. My brother also owns Indian Creek Steakhouse in Caldwell, and so we kind of came back to where it all started, which was here in Declo. We serve steak, salmon, lobster, chicken, ribs. We kind of do it all. It's all cooked over a live apple wood fire.
Ooh.
And special seasonings that a family recipe and secret.
Well, now, do I have to rent a tuxedo and my wife get an evening gown to come and eat, or what?
No.
Oh, okay.
Come as you are.
Well, I can do that. Now,
We're pretty laid back. We have great food, but we're pretty laid back. It's just a family atmosphere and a fun atmosphere.
I look forward to it. Let me ask you this, Kim. As far as the hours and the days open, give us a complete schedule on that.
Okay, as of now, the restaurant opens at 4, Wednesday through Saturday. Usually quit feeding around 10. Also have the Burnout Saloon going on, which we close anytime between 11 and 1.
It sounds like
Awesome happy hour specials. I run it all day, Wednesday and Thursday and Friday and Saturday from 4 to 6.
You know, I want to compliment you, especially at this time in our history. I bet it was a little tough making a decision to open up during this problem that we've been enduring for the last 9 or 10 months.
It was. It's been hard, but the community support has been tremendous.
Well, I certainly want to wish you the very best, and give us the name, the location, and the hours that you're open one more time.
Okay, it's Wick Steak Place. We're at 18 East Main Street in Declo. Open Wednesday through Saturday from 4 o'clock to close.
I can tell you right now that I know what I'm going to order. It's going to be prime rib, medium, and I am looking forward to it this weekend, Kim. You can bet that my wife and I are going to be there.
I'm looking forward to having you guys. Thank you so much.
No, thank you for taking the time to come on our program, and we'll tell everybody to stop over and enjoy a great meal. Thanks, Kim.
Thanks, Zeb. Have a great day.
You bet. Thank you much. Wow, I'm salivating all over the microphone. I love prime rib. I think if I were a condemned man in a prison, I'd say, I've got to have a prime rib. I love that. Thank you very much. Wick's Steak Place, 18 East Main Street in Declo. It sounds really, really good to me. I got time for a call. Give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Really kind of a sad note this morning at 4 o'clock when I turned on the news to catch up before I started getting on the telephone and calling back east and everything. Over 20,000. That's a hard figure to imagine. Over 20,000 National Guard troopers are in Washington, D.C., and they are all there to protect the citizenry and, of course, the area from any disaster that might be happening around Inauguration Day, etc. And when you take that number, 20,000 troops, that is more than what we have still in Afghanistan and Iraq. It's amazing. And it's a shame. Here we are in the greatest country in the world, ever. And I'm never going to back up from that. And right now we have to worry about insurrection and damage and all terrible things at all 50 capitals. And I certainly hope, and I pray, and I mean this, that there will be nothing more than just verbiage about it. We won't have to comment on anything. There won't be any news stories about something that did happen. I don't want to see anything like that. I want to see the United States of America again become united. And that means many or most of our politicians are going to have to shut their damn mouths, bite their lips, and we're all going to try to have to get along for the betterment of our country. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Speaking again about the legislative session, I wanted to thank the governor again for coming on our program yesterday. We are going to try to make it a kind of a bi-weekly interview with the governor during the session and have him on this program. But our thanks and kudos go out to Representative Fred Wood, Speaker Scott Bedke, and Senator Kelly Anthon. And in addition, we may be hearing some other voices from Representative Lori Likely and Clark Kaufman and some others. So we really appreciate all the effort that they've put into keeping you informed as to what they're doing that affects all of us up at the Idaho legislative session. That's going to, and I want to remind you, too, I've got just a moment here. This book that we're going to be featuring at 10:32 this morning that was written by Christine Riker, Adrian Arp, a dear, dear friend of mine, gave me a copy of this book. And I've got to tell you that I had the nicest conversation with the lady that wrote the book and did the artwork in the book. She is not only an accomplished writer and poet, but very, very good at artwork. She's got a picture in here of the Lone Ranger and Tonto and many, many others that were in TV and movie fame, Zorro, etc. This woman is fantastic, and like Adrian had said earlier this morning, she's nearing her 90th birthday, and she is as sharp as a tack. We're going to send it back over to our studio right now. We'll be back in about 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
A couple of days ago, I received a book in the mail from a dear friend, Adrian Arp, and I opened it up, and it was a gift to me, and the book was called The Real, R-E-E-L, Cowboys, and The Real, R-E-A-L, Cowboys, written by Christine Riker. And I absolutely was so thankful for the receiving of this book, because as I grew up a cowboy western fan, anybody and everybody was mentioned in this book with this lady's great poetry and along with the stories and, of course, the great artwork. And I say good morning to the author of this book, Christine Riker. Good morning. How are you?
I'm just fine.
Well, it is a treat to have you on the air, and I've got to tell you, where did you come up with the idea of putting out a book called The Real Cowboys and The Real Cowboys?
Because I grew up watching the Saturday matinee Cowboys. This was what children did in the era when I grew up, the 1940s, the late 1930s. And they had a great influence on the children who watched them because they stood for integrity, honesty, and everything good. They were the white hats, and they battled evil, the black hats.
You know, I've got to tell you that I'm looking at a poem that you wrote called The Stuff of Legends, and the very last verse of this poem, if you'll allow me to read this to the audience, it kind of sets the stage for what I think the Old West was and a lot of the great cowboy actors. It says, quote, "But Hollywood gave him to us all, and John Wayne will ever be the symbol of the cowboy in his land of the brave and free." Wow. That's pretty powerful right there, Christine.
Yes, John Wayne is looked to as the symbol not only of the cowboy, the best that America has to offer. It's a symbol of America, self-reliant, honest, strong, full of true grit.
You were born in Fort Worth, Texas area, and then I understand you moved to California and eventually now to Buell, Idaho. Really, your fascination with Western history and the movies and TV, you have done an outstanding job. Your research must have been absolutely extensive.
Well, history was kind of my love. I liked history. To me, everything is history, either already living now, or will be living in the future. So that came naturally. And of course, being born in Texas, the Western lifestyle was my heritage. And someone once asked a mountain climber, why do mountain climbers climb a mountain? And they said, because they're there. Well, that's what Westerners do. They like their heritage. And it just seemed natural to make poems about the Western cowboy because I grew up in that culture. But some years ago, beginning in 1993, I started attending Western film festivals in Sonora, California, because I lived in California at the time, and in Lone Pine, California, where literally hundreds and hundreds of Western movies were made in these two locations. And following that, television programs of the Westerns were made, such as Little House on the Prairie. So I just fell into becoming a Western poet quite by accident. When I moved to Idaho 15 years ago, I learned that Idaho had a Cowboy Poets Association, cowboy poetry and cowboy music, and I joined them because I had written a few Western poems, and that became a regular thing to do, was to attend cowboy poet meetings, and so I continued to write cowboy poetry. But I had written the poem, the first one in this book, which tells about my brother and myself going to the Saturday matinees as we were children growing up in the late 1930s and the 1940s. And when I learned that they were having film festivals in Lone Pine, that Dave Holland and Terry Powell had started a festival there each year to keep alive the memory of the Westerns which were filmed there, well over 300 of them, with such people, such actors as Audie Murphy, Randolph Scott, Joel McRae, and even big-budget films like Gunga Din. So I wrote a poem about my brother and I going to the Saturday matinees, and I sent this poem to Dave Holland just to thank him, with a letter thanking him for keeping the cowboy mystique alive. And when he got the letter, he phoned me and asked if he could use it in one of his movies. He created and produced 3 movies documentary movies about the Western cowboy heroes. And I gave him permission to use that poem, and he used that poem to close out his last film, his last movie. So I put that poem as the first one in this book about the cowboy movie actors.
Oh, my goodness sakes. Christine, I treasure this book, and I treasure having the opportunity to meet and talk to you on the radio. But I want to ask you, you talked about Lone Pine, California area, and I do know from some of my research that the movies that were filmed there, like you said, Randolph Scott, Audie Murphy, Hopalong Cassidy series, etc., there was so much of a transition in the same area you could turn around and look at the camera another way, and with the different varied rock formations and the mountains in the background, it made it look like you were in a completely different setting. It was a very popular movie spot.
Yes, and the Alabama Hills, where those big rock formations are, there are a lot of them. There are hundreds of them. It's not a small area. It's a very large area. And the Sierra Nevada mountains in the background, right at the foot of Mount Whitney. Mm-hmm. So many movies were made there over the years, starting back in the 1920s and continuing up until today. Very few Westerns are made today, and commercials and other television things are put together and still use Lone Pine occasionally, but the heyday was in the late 1930s and the 1940s. It's a fascinating place to visit, and they've had the film festival there in October for decades. It was suspended this year. They didn't have it, 2020, in October 2020 because of COVID-19. But hopefully vaccinations will eliminate the danger and people can go back and have the film festival there again in 2021 in October, usually the first weekend in October at Lone Pine.
Christine, let me ask you this. When you were putting this book together and you've got drawings of all these famous stars, whether it's James Drury or whether it's Dan Blocker or whether it's John Wayne or whomever, what are some of your favorite stories and favorite actors and movies that are the closest to you? What are your favorites?
John Wayne had already passed away before they began the film festivals. They were begun in order to keep the memory alive of these great Western actors. I met a number of them, both the stars and the supporting players, while I was going to film festivals. And the last one I attended was 2010, but so I have a lot of background stories, and I actually put together 2 photo albums and scrapbooks, and I put many of their remarks. The number one stuntman in Hollywood, Lauren James, after Rakamaка Nut, became a very, very close friend. We had a similar background, both ancestors coming to Texas in the pioneer days, and had a similar life story raising our children as single parents. We were the same age, and so he gave me his entire library of films.
Oh, my.
For instance, he played Debbie Reynolds in How the West Was Won, as well as playing the Indians that got shot and fell off their horses and playing the pioneers that got shot. He played Debbie Reynolds, and when she was supposedly bounced out of the wagon, and he had to pick himself up and face a herd of horses coming straight at him. He said he stumbled on these long skirts, and he said, how on earth do you women walk in those things? Then when the pickup man who was playing Robert Preston, supposed to rescue Debbie Reynolds, he picked him up, and that long skirt hung up in the horse's tail, and they had to take the do the filming a second time.
Oh, my.
Pickup.
Oh, my.
I met Marie Windsor, who was leading lady in the B Westerns, but played in many A films. She played with John Wayne 3 times, played as his wife one time, played as his would-be girlfriend in Cahill, U.S. Marshal, played the bad girl in The Fighting Kentuckian.
Mm-hmm.
She told me a very funny incident that she happened to be wearing a wristwatch, and she was in a scene in a covered wagon coming down a hill. And so she heard the megaphone, and this was back in the days when the directors used megaphones, and he yelled, "Marie, Marie, take off that wristwatch." So the next time she filmed a Western, she remembered to take the wristwatch off, and she dropped it behind a rock so it wouldn't show up when the camera had her in view. And so the director took the same scene that he was filming about 3 times, and he said, "Cut, cut. There's a cricket or something chirping, and it's ruining these scenes." And it dawned on Marie that it was her wristwatch ticking. So the first chance she got when no one was watching, she had to go behind the rock and throw that wristwatch away. So there are very interesting stories, backstories. One of my favorites is I met Ben Johnson, whom you remembered was kind of the sidekick, Sergeant Tyree.
Yes.
He wore a yellow ribbon with
Yes.
John Wayne.
Yes.
And Rio Grande with John Wayne. And he won his Academy Award for a movie called The Last Picture Show.
Mm-hmm.
That film was made out on West Texas prairie, a few, maybe 75 or 80 miles north of where I was born. I was born between Fort Worth and Abilene, closer to Abilene, north central Texas. And I complimented Ben Johnson for winning the Academy Award for his role in that movie. That man was so modest that he said it really wasn't his acting. If you remember the last scene in the picture show, a blue norther blows in, and dust and tumbleweed starting blowing across the street.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that caused such an atmosphere of reality that he thinks that's why he won an Oscar in it.
Oh, my.
Ben Johnson is one of my favorite people.
You know, Ben Johnson...
He ramrodded the film festival in Sonora, and it was sad when he passed away.
Absolutely. Ben Johnson, in my opinion, of course, I've been in the rodeo business for the last 50 years. Ben Johnson, a former world champion roper, and then turned movie actor, and some of my very favorite Westerns included him, and I don't think he really acted. I think he just played himself. Would that be a fair assumption?
Yeah, absolutely. I have another remembers that talking to Ben Johnson. We had panel discussions where we could ask all of the movie stars anything we wanted, and then they would just talk with us, and they would move about, and we could walk around the streets with them. And someone asked Ben Johnson if he was a rich rancher. And he told them no. He grew up on a ranch in Oklahoma where his father was the ramrod.
Mm-hmm.
And he said the owner of this ranch in Oklahoma, his wife flew down to Houston, Texas, to have her hair done at I. Magnum's salon every week. That was being rich. He also said when he went to Hollywood, he went there with a group of horses that they took to Hollywood, I believe 1939, to film The Outlaw with Jane Russell's first film. And he said when he loaded the horses onto the train, he didn't even know where Hollywood was. He didn't even know which direction it was. So he went to Hollywood, taking care of the horses, and then became a stuntman. But, of course, he was very handsome, so eventually they realized that he could be a leading man, and they had groomed him to become the next Gary Cooper because Gary Cooper was becoming older by that time. They wanted some younger man to replace him. So they were grooming Ben Johnson to take Gary Cooper's place, and they starred him in a remake of King Kong, the giant ape of the 1920s. I think the name of the movie that was the remake was Mighty Joe Young.
Ah.
So if you remember seeing that film,
yes.
At one point in the film, the cowboys are sitting in a tent and with the man who's trying to capture this giant ape, and they heard him roar, and all the cowboys run to jump on their horses and go after this ape. And Ben Johnson said the wrangler who was supposed to be taking care of the horses had them all tied to a rope, and he said the wrangler had forgotten to loosen the rope. And when all the cowboys ran and jumped on their horses, the horses were still tied up. Ben Johnson said his horse did a somersault and flipped over backward, and they had to retake that scene. So, yes, there are very interesting backstories to the movie-making industry.
Christine, I've only got limited time left. I've got a couple of minutes, and Sean, I've got a little back feed, if you could, please. But, Christine, I want to ask you, this book, The Real Cowboys and the Real Cowboys, where can it be obtained? How can people really treasure this wonderful book that you've put together? Where did they get it?
The publisher is the one who should be putting it into the bookstores, and I have no idea. It was only published in December, about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I don't know where, when the bookstores will have it, or Amazon or wherever, but I think one could write to the publisher, and his name is Boyd Tuttle.
Okay.
Boydtuttle, President. Digital Legend Press, 1994 East Forest Bend Drive, Salt Lake City, Utah, 84121. The book, I understand, is $19.99. Mr. Tuttle's telephone number is, of course, area code 585-703-8760.
Okay.
So he could tell you where to get the book.
All right, Christine, I am going to ask you if I could please read from your book, Roy Rogers' Prayer, to end our segment. I found this to be great, and I want to share it with my audience. If you will, please, I'll follow up. Dear Lord, I reckon I'm not much just by myself. I fail to do a lot of things I ought to do. But, Lord, when trails are steep and passes high, help me ride it straight the whole way through. And when in the falling dusk I get that final call, I do not care how many flowers they send. Above all else, the happiest trail would be for you to say to me, let's ride, my friend. Amen. Christine Riker, you are a beautiful lady. I hope you'll consent to coming back on the program. I want to talk more about your book and your stories. God bless you for being here this morning.
Well, thank you very much, and God bless you also.
Thank you. What a wonderful lady, Christine Riker. And folks, this is a wonderful book. I am a nut about cowboy history, the real, the R-E-E-L Cowboys, and the real, R-E-A-L Cowboys, Christine Riker. It's an excellent book. Absolutely. Wow, I've got to get the weather on quickly. And the weather brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Number to call, 324-7657. Or you can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. Oh, yes. All the different bacons, all the sausages and bratwurst, all the tri-tips and the prime ribs. Oh, the list goes on and on. You're going to love it. Stop over, give them a call. They'll help you. Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here's a look at your weather for this Thursday, and we are expected to see some sunshine for today. Slight breeze out of the west-southwest at about 7 miles an hour and a high of 42. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with a low of 22. Partly sunny for Friday, again, high of 42. Clouds going to be rolling in for Friday night with a low of 28. Then back to partly sunny skies for Saturday and Sunday. Highs are going to be in the low to mid-40s. That's what your weather for is Debit the Rain.
Gina, we appreciate you. Thank you very much. And, of course, like I said, all the great meat selection over at Scarrows Meats in Jerome. Go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. You'll see what I mean. Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, where they are changing the way we eat one delicious bite at a time. Wow, before I announce our major sponsor for this program, next Monday, we've got a full house. We've got Rick Manning, Frosty Woolridge. We've got Dave Lashnet coming on, Dog Days with Deb Hines. We got a whole plate full next week on Monday, and great guests all the way through the week, so you stay tuned. Want to remind you, too, we wouldn't be here if it weren't for our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And it goes without saying that they are committed to offering you the best tire value in town. Don't forget, they've got all the tires, all the sizes for all the vehicles. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And along with that, of course, the very best in brake service with highly trained brake technicians, front-end alignment, shocks and struts and batteries. I'm telling you, they serve you. You go in there to any one of the 7 locations, man, they come running out to your vehicle and say, may we help you? James and Buell, Dan on Pole Line in Twin Falls, Lane and Rupert, Mike and Jerome, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, the Twist family in Paul, and my buddy Trent on Overland in Burley, the best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Excuse me. Want to wrap it up for the week and say thank you. Thank you very much for being a part of the audience and calling in. I really appreciate you. We always say at the end of the show, the way things were are the way things ought to be. And the words that mean the most to me, in God we trust. I hope you have a safe weekend. We'll be back here next Monday at 8:06. Zev at the Ranch. Take care.